Final Fantasy VI, released in Japan in 1994 on the Super Famicom, would release in the United States as Final Fantasy III for the Super Nintendo. It would re-release on the Sony PlayStation as part of the Final Fantasy Anthology in 1999. Later ports would come to the Game Boy Advance with additional dungeons and additional espers, the Wii Virtual Console, mobile, and PC. In February of 2022, the Pixel Remaster would release on Steam. Final Fantasy VI continues the idea of jobs from Final Fantasy V, but now, instead of choosing a job for your characters, each character had their own job. So you would choose which character or job to take with you. Because of this, Final Fantasy VI contains the largest selection of playable characters available of any Final Fantasy mainline game. This offers the game much more replayability. However, as I will get into later, there's a lot of overlap with some of the characters, and not all the characters are created equal. The music with this game is absolutely superb. All the music for the Final Fantasy series, and specifically the Pixel remasters, is amazing, but they went above and beyond for the music in this title specifically. The boss music is great, the overworld music is awesome, the Velt, all of it is great. Each character even has their own leitmotif, an appropriate term considering what happens later in the game that sets up their story. The leitmotifs also make appearances within other areas of the game as well. Terra's theme appears as part of the overworld theme, for example. Celeste's theme is used in the opera scene, which was by far one of my favorite scenes in the game. They really went all out when it came to the Pixel remaster for this scene in particular. Voice was added to the scene and it did so much to make it even more impactful. Honestly, a full video could be done just as an in-depth look into the music alone. I cannot do the story enough justice, so I do highly encourage you to check out Pro Jared's review of this game. You can find the link to that below. The story starts off in text format as we watch the Imperial walkers march across the snow. We are told that magic no longer exists and the Empire has come across a girl that has the ability to use magic. They have enslaved her and are using her for their needs. She comes in contact with an Esper and erupts into a magical rage. She is rescued by the treasure hunter Locke and Mog and is taken to safety in Narsh. In helping her escape the Empire, we are introduced to more characters, Sabin and Edgar, and a new mechanic early in the game, party selection. I will get back to that. The whole villain story arc revolves around Kefka, the dancing mad jester. This game takes every opportunity it can to show just how villainous he is. Spoilers from this point on, skip to the time shown on the screen if you do not know and do not want to know what happens next. 3, 2, 1. From the poisoning of Castle Doma, to the burning of Castle Figaro, to killing Emperor Gestal, to the actual destruction of the world, Kefka is by far the most evil villain in a Final Fantasy game. When the party encounters Kefka at Narsh's mountains and the Esper is approached, Terra goes Super Saiyan Rose and takes off. The party goes to Zozo and we are introduced to using Espers. The group needs to get an airship, so they decide to try and trick Setzer at the opera by switching Celeste out for the opera star. I must say that this scene was beautifully done. I talked about the music here already. The party fights off Ultros, and then Setzer, along with the airship, join the party. Terra is found and her memories returned to her, and the group head off to talk to the Emperor. They seem to talk some sense into the Emperor, and he agrees to end the war if they can help him. Kefka and Gestal raise the floating continent, and when the heroes show up, Kefka puts an end to Gestal and assumes full control. A battle ensues, and then the unthinkable happens. Kefka wins. The world is thrown into ruin, the airship is destroyed, and our heroes are separated in the chaos. A year has now gone by, and we are now in control of Celeste, who's alone. Celeste works on finding the remaining members of the heroes, and they march towards Kefka. The final battle ensues, and the heroes walk away victorious into a world still tainted by Kefka. Now to look at some things critically. One thing I absolutely love about this game is that you are not pigeonholed into a specific party or party leader. As you gain access to characters, your party really can be whoever you want it to be. Aside from a few areas where certain members are required, a huge portion of the game can be played this way. That being said, when you get to the end and you start off with a limited number of characters, unless you find the rest, this could also be a downfall, as if you did not spend time leveling those specific characters, you're in trouble. There is a large cast of characters to choose from, so much that unless you really want to spend time leveling them, there are some characters you will probably never touch. Those that like to max all character levels and whatnot better be prepared to spend a lot of time in this game. As I mentioned earlier, there is a lot of overlap with how some of the characters play. Gao and Strago are both a type of blue mage. Relm and Mog are both healers, with the former being under the guise of white mage and the latter a dancer. Some characters' unique abilities even become useless later, such as Celeste's Runeblade ability not being used anymore once you start casting magic. The Espers are what allow you to learn magic, and while it is a very cool idea for the series, it would be much improved later on with the materia system in Final Fantasy VII. There are a lot of hidden extras in the game: items, espers, characters, and cutscenes. This offers a lot of replayability in finding the different extras on subsequent playthroughs. Magic in this game is stupidly overpowered. It chews through even the toughest of enemies like a hot knife through butter. The story overall is very good, and the game has one of the best antagonists of the entire franchise. Of the SNES era of the games, this one's ranked in the middle for me. Even though the different characters each represent a different job, so to speak, I miss the job selection from Final Fantasy V. I would much rather have had a smaller cast of characters with the ability to switch jobs than how it was set up in the game. Overall, I rate the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster a 9.5 out of 10. Even though it is not one of my favorites, and with the complaints I had about it, I do realize that those things are more unique to me versus just a problem with the game. This is a very solid game and was a great way to end the SNES era of the Final Fantasy franchise. If you have never played a Final Fantasy game before and you are looking at starting in the SNES era, I suggest actually starting with 4 before playing 6. On sale or at full price, this game is a great one to add to the collection. Thanks for watching my review video over the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster game. If you'd like, you can check out the other Pixel Remaster reviews I have done, and also if you'd like, you can check out my playthrough of the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.